Yo, so had to cover this really quick. Something that's been kind of going viral, something that kind of has been pretty big lately. I do not know her name. I don't care to learn her name. I'm sure if you saw the title, I probably mentioned her name. There's this lady out there who was going to be like on The Bachelorette, and from what I understand, she got the entire season of The Bachelorette canceled. I guess she engaged in like domestic abuse with a boyfriend or a friend or baby daddy. I'm not too sure who these people are. I don't care about these people on reality TV for the most part.
Let me go. Stop. Dude, leave me alone. Oh my gosh. Your daughter is right here. Oh my gosh. Oh my. You're
You did this!
No, you. Stop. Throwing stuff and help your daughter.
But I did find the idea of all this stuff fascinating. And the reason why I found this stuff fascinating is because I've mentioned this before in multiple videos. I'll keep mentioning this because it keeps popping up. We live in a low status society. It's a race to the bottom. It's official. All the things that get pushed the most are the most degenerate, low IQ ideas possible. The Bachelorette, when I think about shows like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, the idea that comes to mind is someone who's slightly older than their 20s, but is a prime candidate for marriage. Like, it's the ideal candidate. It's the ideal person. If you're a dude, it's probably a dude who's like handsome, has his stuff together, very well groomed, and is someone who, on paper, should be desirable in the eyes of many women. And the reverse is true. The same is true for The Bachelorette as well. When you think about The Bachelorette, or at least when I think about The Bachelorette, I think about a person who is older than their 20s, but struggles to really find the perfect match. But it could just be due to like circumstances, due to like timing. She hasn't found the right guy, but she's very attractive. She's in excellent shape, very intelligent, has all of the best qualities you can think of: elegant, charming, kind. Just insert every good quality possible. She just hasn't found the right guy yet. And this is why she's on The Bachelorette. She's like a standard. She's like the thing you should strive for if you want to get married, if you want to have like the perfect relationship. So it came to my surprise when I learned that the lady who was supposed to be on The Bachelorette, like I mentioned, it got canceled. But it came to my surprise that the lady who was supposed to be on The Bachelorette was like a single mother of 3 kids who apparently cheated on her previous partner and just overall seemed like a completely degenerate person. Now, I wanted to say this real quick. There's nothing wrong with having 3 kids. There's nothing wrong with being a single mom. I know a lot of people online like to kind of shit on women who are single mothers. I think a lot of people also are very narrow-minded, and they assume that you're a single mother because you just sleep around and because you just have kids with like random people. Obviously, that's not the case. There are some dudes out there who just lie, who manipulate. Obviously, there's some circumstances where you both amicably split up, and maybe she decided to take care of the kids. There's lots of different nuances to one situation that I think most people just don't account for. So we don't have to be stupid here. We can be realistic and say that being a single mom, being divorced even, is not necessarily a bad thing. But cheating is. So the idea that you got someone who's a cheater, who I think most people would consider that a pretty negative quality to see in somebody. The fact that you let someone who's a cheater, who apparently has 3 kids, but not because the boyfriend was like a piece of crap, whatever, just because she was a piece of crap. The fact that you let this person be on The Bachelorette is stunning to me. But it also kind of isn't stunning. It's also kind of like predictable. It's like, of course we would let someone who seems super degenerate be on The Bachelorette. Of course we would. Because who else would we let be on? Someone who's elegant, someone who embodies positive qualities, someone who's a standard to strive for? Of course not. Why would we do that? We're a low status society. Of course we're going to race to the bottom. Of course we're going to scrape the bottom of the barrel in every way we can. I wouldn't be surprised if the next Bachelorette had like the Cash Me Outside girl, like Bad Bunny, Bad Barbie, whatever her name is, or even the Hawk Tuah girl. I wouldn't be surprised if like the next season of Bachelorette had one of them. It would not shock me at all. The biggest thing that I would say I found fascinating is the dudes that actually showed up for the show, like the guys that actually went to the show as a contestant. Now, I'm assuming perhaps some of these dudes who just don't know who she is, and I'm assuming that some of these people probably went on the show for the sake of fame. But I'll say this, and I've said this before in different videos about like my thoughts on like dating, my thoughts on like vetting the people around you, but especially your partner, things of that nature. People tell you who they really are based on their habits. I'm a firm believer in that. 3 kids from 2 separate guys. Again, we're not going to be low IQ here and assume that the dudes had no part in this, but it is a pattern, and it's a pattern that's worth keeping an eye out for. I think the more red flags you see, the more negative patterns you spot, the better your chances of determining if a person is worth being around or if they're not worth being around. This girl, 3 kids from 2 different guys, a cheater, apparently abusive. Not a lot of good signs. So the idea that some of these dudes signed up for the show probably knew enough about her, I hope. If you didn't know anything about her, that also says a lot about you as a guy, because you went on the show, this dating show, knowing nothing about the person you are potentially going to be dating and maybe even marrying. That says a lot about the individual guy. But you going on the show with the knowledge of these red flags in mind say a lot about you, and it says a lot about society. It just shows me that men have such low dating standards that they're willing to date just the worst possible person of all time. Now, when that video came out of her like abusing her, I guess, boyfriend or baby daddy, whoever it is, I do not know. Like I said, I wasn't shocked. Actually, I think I laughed like a lot. I was like, oh my God, it's so funny. I will say I found it interesting because when I was on Instagram and I first saw the video, people in the comments, it's funny. And this might be another video in the future. It's funny, like the double standards we have. I know people say like double standards shouldn't exist and people complain about double standards. I think some double standards are fine, but I think there's some double standards that should just apply across the board to men and women collectively. For example, abuse. Abuse is abuse. No one should be hitting anybody in a relationship. If you're a guy, do not hit women. If you're a woman, do not hit men. No one should be abusing anybody. So the idea that when I'm looking through the comments and I see girls saying, well, there must be a reason why she hit him. It's like, no, there's no real reason why she hit him. Unless he was attacking her physically and in the video she was defending herself, that'd be the only exception. But it doesn't seem that way. And in real life, I think if you're defending yourself, you do enough to defend yourself and you leave. You get out of that situation, realistically speaking. So it didn't seem like that was the situation. It seems like that's her personality to just start hitting people. And the reason is because, if we're going to be honest, it's because she's a lady, she's a woman, and most dudes probably aren't going to hit her back. So she has a sense of entitlement and she feels like, oh, I can hit them, but they can't hit me back. Therefore, there are no consequences. And because there are no consequences, because I don't get punished for this behavior, I'm incentivized to keep this behavior going. Again, some double standards should apply across the board. All bad behaviors that men and women can both engage in should not be performed. We should just discourage everyone from doing them. But yeah, I don't know. I just found it interesting that this lady was going to be the Bachelorette, because it just shows how low we've gotten as a society. The standards are out the door. Low standard society. I'll be repeating this probably a lot this year, because day after day I keep seeing more low quality or low status society behavior. It never ends. It's a race to the bottom. It makes me wonder, where's this country headed to? You know, I've talked about this in the past. I don't want to go on too much of a tangent. I don't want to go on too deep of a tangent right now in this video and get off topic. But yeah, I don't know. I'm fascinated. What do you guys think about the situation? What do you guys think about the state of society right now? Do you think we're in a low status society, or do you think that everything is as it always has been? I know it's a weird sentence, but yeah, let me know your thoughts. Click the like if you like the video. Click the dislike if you don't like the video. I'm totally okay with people not liking the video. Leave a comment below if you have one, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out. Bye.